what do you think are the jobs that have the highest risk of extinction in the next 5 years?
I mean, it's hard to say at a very high level, but I would say jobs where there is it's just kind of like straight up output, where like, let's say right now, what AI is really good at, right? It's like it's writing, marketing materials. And if the job is just writing marketing materials, then I think those jobs are kind of hard to justify. And so what will happen, I think, is that those jobs will kind of evolve. Like people often talk about, like what jobs AI is eliminating, because it's kind of easy to see like, oh, well, the AI can do this. That means we don't need humans anymore. But that's true of any technology that's like good at something. You don't really need humans to do that thing. So what the job becomes is like humans kind of like guiding that technology. So yeah, I mean, a classic example, writing marketing materials or just like writing stuff in general.
Do you have that person on your team, or is it like a marketer?
Yeah, we have a marketing team and they use AI, right? But there's no sort of like need anymore for someone that just writes the copy.
Yeah.
Have someone who controls the AI that writes the copy, right? So, and same with what we're doing. Like when we think about, customer service or customer experience, you don't necessarily need people to, handle the like, how do I reset my password type questions. You can have people that either can work on the higher level, harder questions, or kind of manage the AI that, solves those questions. And so for us, what we're seeing actually with a lot of our customers is that people kind of grow into new roles that are much more exciting. So it could be like, there's now this concept of like a conversation architect or an AI architect, and their whole job is to use Decagon to design the way that their AI should behave. And that requires a little bit of a different skill set. You have to be fairly good at reasoning. You have to be fairly good at communicating, because that's how you communicate to the AI of how to, answer something.
And they were customer support before, those people?
Yeah. So before they were kind of, either managers, CX managers, or, they were in charge of kind of their original knowledge base, or they were in charge of kind of the old school chatbots. And so their roles have kind of evolved as well, right? So a big part of Decagon is enabling those people. And so we have a big focus on customer enablement. We have a program that we call Decagon University that up levels them into the new AI age. And the benefit is that now you kind of get these folks that were very interested in this, but we've kind of given them a much smoother path to figure out like, okay, here's how you build intuition around AI. Here's how I use them. And now they're much more effective at their jobs, because they're now in charge of the AI and designing it and leveraging it and reviewing the answers and figuring out how to make it better.
And when you interview people for a company, can you name some skills that you're looking for? Not necessarily technical, but maybe like their personal traits that will help them transition from just being customer support to, manager of AI.
Yeah. So, I mean, one, you have to be fairly analytical, because you have to be able to break something down into steps, right? So a big part of the folks that are using Decagon is, I saw this conversation that could have been better. How do I figure out how to update the AI so that it can answer these conversations better in the future? And that involves, okay, well, I need to kind of dig into the conversation, and we have a lot of tooling here that helps them like, okay, this message, here's how the AI got this message, here's like the reasoning, here's like the step that it took, here's the knowledge that it used. And so someone who can actually clearly think through that is going to be very effective at this. And the other trait I would say is around communication. So in the same way that we communicate with coworkers now, in the future, you have these AI agents. And one of the areas that we've pioneered so far is like, how do you communicate with the AI agent to teach it new things? And the way we do it at Decagon is through natural language, so like plain English. So someone who is really good at communicating can write down instructions essentially for the AI to follow in a very, very nice way. Whereas someone who's potentially less good at communicating, they might write it down, but then the AI could get confused because like two of the steps contradict with each other or something. So I would kind of put that into the communication skills. So it's kind of like analytical and communication skills.
And what do you think is going to happen to entry-level jobs? I just saw these stats where there were 30% more applications for entry-level jobs this year and 15% less spots in the companies. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I think the types of things that people end up doing now are going to be different, just enabled by AI, right? So if you even think about software engineering, is one of the most popular jobs in the last decade or so. we have a lot of software engineers, and there's no way we will slow down on hiring a software engineer anytime soon, because the amount of software that you need to build is kind of like uncapped. It's more
and
like
it's
the more
exponentially
people
growing,
you have.
I feel like.
Exactly, right? Like the more people you have, the faster you can get there almost. So it's not necessarily like hey, there's fewer jobs, but the nature changes, right? So now pretty much every single one of our engineers is heavily using AI in their job. And it's kind of one of those things where it's hard to quantify exactly what the impact is. One, because we started the company after that technology was there. So like we've always had that technology. But even if you kind of compared someone just coding by themselves versus with an AI agent, like obviously you can feel that the AI makes them faster and like more productive, but it's hard to measure the impact.